DreamHack Astro Open is brought to you by Astro, Monster Energy, Corsair, and Zowie.
Good afternoon, Texas. It is time once again for the DreamHack Astro Open to continue. We're in Austin and we're having a blast. Some of your favorite Counter-Strike teams are about to clash. That's a poem, and I did not do that on purpose. I'm your host, Machine, and today we do have, of course, Liquid. Will it be breaking or boiling point for the North American side, or will G2 prove a little too much? It is going to be fun all the same. Getting to see how far the North American Counter-Strike presence in this 8-team tournament can get. Liquid are one of the hopefuls alongside Cloud9, and now we have a chance to see them face their toughest opponent yet. G2, the reason they're even in this elimination match is because of some shortcomings in their very first game of the tournament. Now, though, joining me on the desk to talk through both how they got here and how it's going to go down, I have Halvor Vendetta Gudestål, Norwegian supermodel, and of course, the very man himself, fresh from the engagement. That's right, ladies, he's off the market. We've lost him. We never get to see him again, so take it in while you can on camera. It is the ever-lovely Eric Adrenaline Hogue. That's right. Gentlemen, how are you feeling about this one? I'm personally very excited. And Halvor, you've already told everyone that this was not even a maybe. This is going to be a good game. You're going to regret that, do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think it's gonna either if it becomes a one-sided game, I think it's a good game to watch simply because you can see the true potential of one of the two sides at least. And that's always something you want to watch for. I think for G2, the fact that they want to prove themselves coming to their first offline event as a new lineup, obviously looking to get that first title under their belt, that's obviously a storyline that's worthwhile following. And for Liquid, again, you know, they're coming into this with Twist. It's not their first event. Obviously, they did have Summit, but outside of that, it's, you know, still a fresh team. They want to, again, showcase their best side, and they still, you know that they're a work in progress, but this is a pretty good team to go up against to test your mettle.
So, Eric, we talk about skill ceiling. It's a term that you've been using an awful lot, talking about other teams. Is it kind of, is it crazy to say that G2 may have one of the highest skill ceilings in Counter-Strike?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you look at all their players, they just look all so individually talented. And I think if we look at both of these teams, they kind of have a similar story. They're both like all really good and really high skilled, but for some reason, things aren't clicking. Right. I mean, Liquid, they're actually both new rosters, so they're kind of in the same boat where like they're finding their groove, finding their setups, they're really drilling their strats and whatnot. So both teams probably need a little bit more time till we see them at 100%. But I mean, both teams just have a lot of talent. And for some reason, the results aren't there yet.
Right, time will tell. Sorry, Halvor.
I think part of it is because with new teams, you're obviously not going to have as stable of a map pool as you'd like. So I think that's why we'll see inconsistencies with Liquid, for instance. They have, you know, a couple of maps that they feel comfortable going to, and oh my, how lovely. But in addition to that, obviously the same thing goes for G2.
Yeah.
But we can still hold hands.
Thank you.
There we go.
Yeah. Well, we're going to hold hands and go straight into those brackets to see exactly where G2 did get into this sticky situation. It was all Cloud9. Their dirty work in the initial match did get G2 into this scenario. Now it's Liquid's chance to throw the knockout blow. In Texas, two punches, a one-tooth punch from North America could very well knock out G2, and that would be a real bitter pill to swallow, no doubt for them. This is the prime tournament for them to get that big win. You know, I say big win. Get that win that starts the road to those big and the lifting the major trophies and stuff like that.
And I mean, to be fair, if you look at their group, it's not like it's an easy route to go through, though. You know, yeah. So, and I would say, managing to beat or getting through a group with Immortals, Cloud9, and Liquid, as your first tournament, that's still pretty big wins you're racking up right there. Yeah. And they still have to go through, potentially a Gambit as well to claim the title.
I would love a G2 Gambit matchup. That would be great.
Would be super fun.
I also would love to see if Liquid can kind of stabilize here in Austin. Now, actually, while we're on the topic of Liquid, I think we have a rare opportunity to get some insight that we wouldn't otherwise have with you, Eric. And I mean, this is so you know how you said there's some similarities between G2 and Liquid. I think there is also some differences. From my understanding, Liquid are still using that team house format. Is that correct, or have they moved away from that?
Liquid? Yeah. Liquid for the most part. Some of them actually live in the team house, like JDM and I'm not sure if Twist would be there or not, but before it would be like the European player plus JDM and like the coach and whatnot.
Oh, so it wasn't the full squad?
The full squad never lived there together. I mean, they've been boot camping.
There, then?
Yeah, they've been boot camping, I think, for like a couple weeks before this event and before the summit. They've been together for like 2-3 weeks at the Liquid House, but before that, no, they're not like a permanent team house.
So that's not, I'm trying to think of other formats. Like, so CLG used to do that, SK used to do that. There are examples of it, but
Immortals do that?
Immortals, thank you. But these guys do not conform to that setup. And there they are. I mean, this is a very... It's a roster that I think a lot of people who, you know, casually keep their eyes on North American Counter-Strike can get excited about. I mean, these names coming together, the likes of JDM alongside the Elysian Nitro duo, Stan now holding the reins of leadership, and then you've got very young, up-and-coming, and exciting Twists, newest addition to the roster. This does read on paper, Halvor, as a roster that could very well, you know, be climbing the ladder.
Like if you were to make a power ranking of the best of in the NA region, like, okay, best IGL, Stanislaw, okay, Liquid's got him, best Opper for the longest time, JDM, you got him, best, you know, kind of tag team duo, well, you got Nitro and Elise, that's probably #1 there, probably rivaled by Tim and Stewie on C9 right now, but for the longest time, that was kind of the route you go about, and then you look at hottest talent in NA, probably Twists. So yeah, on paper it looks very, very promising. And again, it is one of those situations where you do have to give them time to kind of adapt and get into the groove of things. One of the maps where they haven't really fallen off from what we've seen after they've added Twist is Cobblestone, and I think that was listed as their best map as well. It would be really fun to actually be able to see them play in this specificity. I do fear that it might get banned out pretty quickly by G2 though.
Yeah, we'll keep our eyes on the Vitas when we get to it. First, we have to meet the G2 squad as well. Now, you know already and recognize the names of Liquid. You'll definitely know these faces and names.
Who is this guy?
Yeah, who is this guy? Shoxy, influential member of French and international Counter-Strike, alongside Kenny S as well. Star AWP player. We lost a little bit of his spark after the AWP nerf, but he's back and he means business alongside Apex, NBK, and Body. The youngster kind of slots into the same category as Twists, wouldn't you say, as in terms of kind of there's excitement, there's consistency, and I really like whenever you speak to any other member of the G2 squad and you ask them about Body, because everyone here on desks and fandom and, you know, even some commentators will say he's the outlier. He doesn't quite fit within those other 4 huge names, but they have a lot of respect for what he does in and out of game.
Yeah, and obviously the Body just doesn't have that fair fight really going into it, because you're going up against people who have like 10 years of winning everything, you know, to go up against, and you can't do that if you've only played pro for about a year. So, you know, he's going to lose that battle every single time, and that's why he's an outlier. But that doesn't mean he can't become, you know, in the same breath of, you know, the same player in the breath of Shoxy and Apex and Kenny and so on.
How is that not nerve-wracking? You know, like the one guy with, like, I mean, these guys, there is absolutely zero question to anyone involved that they are proven and have been the world's best on numerous occasions, and then Body's like,
hey guys,
hi, my name's Body.
I've got global.
Yeah, I got global, and I'm quite good at shooting heads. And
I feel like there might be that pressure there too, that like since you're like not the very well-known, like experienced player, that like you might be on the chopping block if things don't go well.
Oh yeah, no, you're definitely like the first.
He'd be like the first one. Yeah, so there's that pressure there, but it seems like he's been pretty consistent, like with his performances since going pro.
I think Shoxy's been really adamant about that from pretty much the second they picked up Body, that Shoxy's gonna have his back no matter what happens. Body could go like -5 and 17 and just like purposely shoot teammates, and Shoxy would still be like, well, you know, he did all he could. A couple of unfortunate situations, but he'll get back in the next game.
Someone that was in a similar category to what you've just described was Smiths, and he's actually standing behind them. Please do not forget that he is still present within the G2 roster. He is on that microphone and will have some impact on both their preparation. He says he puts a lot of emphasis on that, as well as just calming that French rage when things don't go their way in those 30-second timeouts. So quickly taking a look at the bans. Walk us through it, you two.
Well, is that Cobble ban?
No, Cobble actually makes it through, And I guess G2 don't really play Mirage, so that makes sense. So obviously they could have gone the right way. They've just wanted to ban out the strength of Liquid, but feel comfortable going into Cobble. I think this is going to be the best chance Liquid has to get into a 3-mapper. Train, very interesting actually. I've seen G2 have, you know, very varying performances on that map. Not necessarily with this exact lineup, obviously, but you know, with the same core people and the same people in charge of the strategies and setups and so on. So I'm going to be interested to see how that plays out as well. As for how Liquid plays Train, not one of their stronger maps. I think, it's going to be on Cobble really for them to win if they're going to make it to a 3rd map.
It's interesting that Train, I mean, G2, it's of all the maps that you'd expect a team that's kind of new and trying to forge their path
I kind of would have expected them to pick Nuke simply because that's been kind of G2's map for quite some time. I guess the one thing that is in the back of their heads is that Nuke is a very, very strong map for Liquid as well. It's been very good for them, and I think Stanislav has taken a lot of pride in making Nuke one of their staple maps too, because it's with so many teams not necessarily adapting to it right away because it's one of the newer maps, and it's not as commonly liked as Inferno, even though that's even newer. You do kind of get a bit of an automatic up on in the veto phase, if people know that you can't play the map.
Yeah, I think Nuke is Liquid's best map. Excuse me. And I think it's because of their rotations. They do really well on like fitting on what needs to be covered. Elige does a great job of rotating Secret, being the outside guy, playing up close outside, just having proper rotates. And I think Nuke is one of the most important maps to where rotates matter.
Yeah,
because there's always like, hey, where could we be getting flanked from? Where should we be defending? So I think like they do a really good job of just communicating and just having everything really watched, and which is super tough to do on Nuke.
And I think it matters even more now on the new version of Nuke because you don't have double vents to actually make the rotations between the two bomb sides of CT. So you have to be even more precise about what kind of information you're relaying to your teammates, and they have to be in the right position because you can't swing back and forth as easily as you would have been able to in the past. So yeah, I definitely think that's a massive advantage for Liquid. Obviously, they've kind of nailed that down to science at this point.
Now, the fact that we're talking about the third map already suggests you guys are expecting this to go all the way. Is that some faith then? You're giving some faith to both Liquid and G2 to pick up their map picks?
I feel good about Liquid picking up Cobble, honestly. They've been looking very solid.
I like all three maps, honestly, for them. I don't think I think there's a chance that all three maps Liquid could beat them. But I mean, obviously, with G2 having a weak first map of the day yesterday, it kind of gives me a little bit of hope for Liquid that says, hey, and for them, they should be saying, hey, Cloud9 can do it, we can do it.
Yeah. That's a nice mindset to get themselves into. There he is. We talked about him before. Smile on his face, body is going to be jumping into this battle alongside his fellow comrades. Prediction-wise, gentlemen, when we have seen the map pool, we'll start, talking more specifically about the first map in a moment, but I would like to get those predictions done. Let me think about this.
Well, we're done with, wait, do you want to start again?
Do I want to start again?
Didn't you actually get your correct prediction when you started?
I did. Both times, actually.
So, wait, you got 2 right?
I have 2 right now.
Actually, yeah, that's true, actually.
This morning.
We've already had a game today.
Yeah,
kind of went by fast.
Okay. So every part of my body and fiber is telling me that G2 are going to win.
All right. What does your gut say?
Well, the thing is I can see a world where Liquid win Nuke if we get to a third.
Yeah.
So G2 would have to win Cobble. And that's...
So you're going to land with...
I'm going to go for G2. I am. Right. Despite how after seeing what Liquid were capable of in Summit, especially on Nuke, I think it's not out of the realms of possibility this could be over in 2 and not for G2. But Halvor, jump in.
I'm actually going to go the same direction as you. I'm going to go with G2. Even though, obviously, we talked about how, I think it's going to go to a third, and I think Nuke is an extremely good map for Liquid as well. I just think it's a better one for G2. I think that G2 squad is going to make G2, is going to make Nuke pretty much like the one map that nobody ever wants to play them on.
Now, I know this is your second day on the job, Eric, but there is this recurring theme with American analysts that once you get into like day 2, day 3, close to playoffs, you kind of get these blinders on, right? They can't stop. They have to predict North America.
Yeah.
Jason Moses O'Toole, not to mention him in particular, notorious.
picker.
Like he sits there in the green room, he's like, "Oh, Liquid are going to go out in groups," and then they win one game, and he's like, "Liquid all the way, boys! Oh, yeah. America!"
Never had any doubt, of course.
Yeah. What are you going for?
Well, I'm deciding between 2-0 G2 or 2-1 G2.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm definitely thinking G2 is going to win this, but. I'm just wondering, the thing about Liquid that's kind of plagued them in the past is like just consistency between all 5 players.
Yeah.
I feel like one guy always shows up on Liquid, but the rest of the team is super quiet. It's always been like that. It's been Nitro or Elige, or someone else is going to step up, maybe Twist this time. So 2-1 G2.
2-1. Yeah, given Liquid a map, I would not be surprised if we get a full 3-map blockbuster for both us, you guys at home, and the guys in the crowd as well here for the DreamHack Astro Open. The casters as well. You guys, have you been doing your vocal warm-ups? You ready for a bit of a marathon here, Launders?
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
Dude, I really want you to... Will you read me bedtime stories? Like, why is that not a thing? Why don't you do like a little podcast of like boxer bedtime? That's what you could call it.
Yeah,
that sounds like something you don't want to Google search, just to be quite honest.
Boxer bedtime?
Maybe you can Google search that already.
It'd just be a picture of like a cute dog sleeping. That's what it would be.
That's what you would hope for, but that's probably not going to happen. Anyway, predictions, of course. Launders, what do you got here?
Well, my issue is that, I spent $40 on G2 stickers, so I have like all my guns have tons of Gs. But then I also really want Liquid to win because I'm the #1 Fanislaw in America.
Fanislaw.
So
get out of here.
Tough. But I do think that we will see 2-1. And that's as far as I'll go.
Wow.
Dude, come on.
Sweet.
Don't chicken out of this.
Who
you
is
just don't
this
want to
guy?
get booed by picking G2 from the crowd is really what this is about.
G2? All right, then I'll pick Liquid.
Oh.
Just because he wants
Sound
cheers,
for
of
the
course.
Spicy meatball.
All right, I'm going to go 2-0 G2.
2-0.
Oh, okay. Confidence.
Yep, there you go. Boo it out. It's all
Well,
fine.
gentlemen, we don't know the result, but we know one thing for certain, that this could be a fantastic game of Counter-Strike. We'll let you take it away.
Yeah, at least I'm not going to pull a Roger Goodell at the NFL draft, and while I'm getting booed, just be like, come on, guys, let's cheer. The poor guy got wrecked just a couple days ago. But anyway, so yeah, we're going to be on the first map as Cobblestone, and this is certainly still a good comfort map for Liquid. I think, like we said, still one of the maps that they still seem to be, good at playing. It seems to fit them pretty well. They can do a lot of different stuff on this map. They have a very deep playbook. But when you look at G2, they've been really solid on it online. The one time they played it offline against Hellraisers, they dominated. That was at Starlighter, of course. And even if you look at the pieces that came together to make this G2 team, like the old Envious and the old G2, both those teams really did have a style that suited them for being able to play really good on Cobblestone, particularly on terrorist sides. So I think that Liquid still are going to struggle, against a team that's also very capable of playing this map.
Yeah, so one thing I will say that I think works well in Liquid's favor. I think the biggest problem is that G2 outclass them right now in terms of experience, in terms of maybe a little bit in terms of aim, even with the heavy hitters that Liquid has. But then with the maps the map pool is just great for just a great set of games right now, which was why it was so difficult for me to say one way or the other. I think the only thing is that G2 just kind of have more experience and should edge out each of these maps.
I think like when you look at the pick ban phase, though, I feel like G2 got a way bigger advantage in their map pick because they picked Train. I think a map that Liquid's really going to struggle on, whereas Liquid picked Cobblestone, which wasn't as heavy of an advantage because G2 is certainly capable of playing it. So when you look at it that way, a lot of things taking favor of G2, and this is where JDMs have to go up against Kenny S in this game, and he's not been having the best of times with the AWP. So we got to see what he can do. One bright thing about Liquid though is Nitro had a great day yesterday, and if he can keep that up with the Leaves and that 1-2 punch can work out, they definitely have a chance to start taking some cracks at G2.
Yeah. Now we're right into the pistol. I did have something to note about the operators having to take duels with each other. I don't think that has to happen all the time in every game. It sometimes does. I mean, we did see Mo take on that off duel over and over again. But here's the drop control, that being with a bunch of players jumping out, 3 going down, looking for these duels. Body being very patient with that USP and finding a second headshot. Very clean stuff. The rotate over to A, though, is imminent. MBK trying to find a good spot. Has to 180 for this headshot. Can't get it just yet, but Nitro is in a tough spot, and it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter at all. G2 are able to hold it down on all fronts. The drop distraction wasn't enough. His Body was just too clean with these headshots. Yeah, really well played. Body is going to be that drop room player on the CT side for G2. That's one of the great things about this new G2 team is the fact that essentially all these guys get to play the old spots they played on their old team, so that comfort's going to be there. Like Apex always did play A for Envy. Someone like Shox and Body were always over towards B in the drop-down room, respectively. So this allows them to just kind of keep with those same patterns, that muscle memory that they've been building up for pretty much all of 2016 on how to play these spots effectively. So that's going to stack up against Liquid, as well as Twist trying to get fast out the drop-down room, but going to get picked up on by Body and Kenny S, who will quickly light up the board with 3 frags across it. So that just leaves Stanislaw and Nitro now in a 2 versus 4 with just a Tech 9 and head armor, no utility. Apex taking shots at range with the UMP. No problem for him to get those headshots. It's 2-0 for G2. So one thing that's cool is that in my interview with Stanislaw, he mentioned that Twist likes playing all the spots that no one likes to play. The first example he used was drop on Cobble, which we won't see necessarily in this half, though he might be entering at drop. But it's really cool that this is one of the hardest places on any map to play as a CT. Even when you have backup, drop is a nightmare. So maybe that'll be a really positive thing for them moving into the second half. And then here in the first half, as JDM is opping, I think sometimes and obviously we're on an eco where Apex is actually pushing for information, gets the first kill, and now they know he's up here, and he knows that they're going to try to kill him, but he's going to go and try to take that duel to them really quickly, finds another couple of really nice UMP frags, and drops a nade that might finish off Nitro. Nope, he actually managed to stay away from it and their whole life is dedicated to killing him, but he's done a great job.
He evaded them very, very well. So now it's going to be 3-0 for G2. And we talked about the positives for G2 on their CT side, how there's going to be that role familiarity from their previous teams. Everything kind of lines up that way. But for Liquid, they do have a massively deep playbook on this map. One of the great things about the leadership dichotomy of Stanislaw and Zeus is that it gives them the full spectrum of CS. Like, you can play looser defaults with Stanislaw and him set up his playmakers, but then you can do the more complex executes, the more structured defaults with Zeus, and that combination allows them to be very hard to read because, like I said, they can play a lot of different styles of CS, and there's also a lot of role flexibility, particularly Stanislaw. Since Twist on the team, Twist may lurk, sure, instead of Stan, but Stan is totally comfortable playing more, you know, second entry, even entry type roles to kind of, you know, create space for Elige and Nitro, and then JDM will try to just, you know, work with the Soppets. Nitro does go down very early to Kenny S. And now Elige, as he tries to work his way into mid-room to even the odds, is not going to find much.
Kenny S has definitely been hitting shots lately. I think it's up to JDM to, quite simply, find other frags to be made. Either open up the site, open up the other site, the site that Kenny S isn't at. And I mean, it's not really in Kenny S's favor to necessarily try to outreact Oppers as well. I mean, it's always better just knock down as many pawns as you can, and then stay. That is your best chance of staying alive and having the most impact as an Opper. Oh, and there, that push is actually going to get punished. I mean, that 5v4 re-aggression in the middle, no flash at all. You think Apex might have got a little bit overzealous with that peak. Elige also finds the second one off the back of that, and now they have 4v3.
Yeah, it looks really good. Elige getting these entries. It's going to open up the A-bomb site, but Kenny S here still with the outboard towards the bounty. Finds one kill, but Elige, very efficient trading, not allowing him to let loose. Body, though, it will collect Elige. Elige gets it back into a 2 versus 2 here. They do have a kit onto Shocks, as well as some utility.
Wow.
They're going to take a long time to do a counter boost play for a flank, just trying to see if they can do something that maybe Liquid won't read, because this flank will come maybe a bit faster than they anticipate. And Shocks is making his way up mid with the UMP as fast as he can. Body still trying to play from the connector. JDM holding it with the op, watching that door, but has to worry about danger as well. Shocks, though, bypassing that, will just go ahead and come directly up the slope onto the site. Body from the balcony, going to be taken out by Stanislaw. Great work there by him. Shocks now stuck in a 1 versus 2. He's really pretty much out of time. He's trying to see if he can at least bait out a frag, but not going to happen. So well played by Liquid, particularly capitalizing on some of that overextension by Apex in middle.
Yeah, that kind of was the linchpin to the round, where after that, Elige started entering like crazy. I think he got a little bit too aggressive after he got this third kill, decided to go right in for the rotate, and then got killed by a rotator, which was kind of an obvious thing. And then also this reverse boost, I assumed that Shocks was going to actually try to go long, because that would be the safest place that Liquid would want to play from in the after plant, but ended up coming up the ramp. I'm not sure he would have necessarily got the kill, even with that big rotate, but I figured that would be a reason. And there's JDM actually finding a frag on Shocks, who I think might have also had an op, if I'm not mistaken. I mean,
We'll see in a second. I think Body's trying to find it. Yeah, it is. And in G2, they love double op on every map on both sides of the map. So we're going to see double op between Shocks and Kenny S quite a lot, no matter, you know, what they're on in the map pool, or whether they're T or CT. So definitely keep an eye out for that, as Body will recollect that op that fell from Shocks. But a great opening pick from JDM. That's good to see him getting some opening frags. Apex right at the wrong time turns away, and Stanislaw clearing out the halls will put him in the dirt. Kenny S, though, responds with an op frag of his own, so he's trying to see if he can't make a play for G2. Even gets aggressive, but Stanislaw able to read that as well, and so these frags are going quite well for Liquid. They have a 4-on-2. Rotate comes in from NBK to be that solo defender in the A site. This means that the defense is spread so thin. Liquid should be able to capitalize on this.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously don't want to just like walk out now that they have a 4v2. Body's gotten rid of his op, though, however, which I felt like was kind of his best chance to pull off this hold, but now is pushing up aggressively. Could kind of try to get under JDM. Is going to look for the first kill. Can't do it. Twist too quick on the entry, and everyone's going to get smoked out. I hate to say it, Dust, but I feel like G2 are playing kind of badly right now. Like, they are, even positionally, the way that Apex is playing A, he's not playing it in the ideal, safe way, and even though he was roaming a little bit, Kenny S wasn't there to op long for him. Like, when he had turned his back, Kenny S wasn't ready to pick anybody else off that was coming long. So, like, those small gaps in timings they have to be accounted for at all times.
Yeah, maybe one of the things where G2 were coming into this thinking that we're just the superior aimers, and so someone like Shox feels super confident in taking that out pick against JDM.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe someone like Apex feels like really bold in being able to, you know, try to bully them over on the A side of the map. But now that they're starting to meet some real resistance from Liquid, I think maybe you might see them start making a little bit of adjustments, maybe not be as risky as before. As this is just some great work from Stanislaw, kind of proving that not only can he play peripheral roles as a lurker and a support, but he can also take those fights and open up space for his team. So again, that role flexibility is key for Liquid. As we see Elige, I think he's lining up the smoke to fake an A hit. I know it's something that Nip would do. I'm not sure if he's going to go for it or not. He pulled out the smoke, but then he put it back and just pulled out the AK, so I'm not sure what they're doing just yet.
Yeah, it is interesting. We have seen Liquid get ecoed at this tournament, so I'm hoping for their sake that they don't do that, and we can kind of just see like a truly competitive game where both teams are only winning their rifle rounds. But with both these teams extremely good with pistols, I don't think that'll last the entire match. Our MK just peeking right now with the Deagle. The last thing they want is obviously to lose a kill to a pistol on one shot and not be able to trade that frag. And the best preventative measure that they can take is to take something together. And we can see the congregation towards A for terrorists moving back. JDM going to be probably Deddy flank watcher and make sure no one is getting aggressive over from B.
Yeah, so opening default, Liquid then transition into a swarm and trade situation.
What?
But look at that one deke from Apex, and he's going to be able to get away. And back in the slide, Kenny has still posted up very aggressively, and even Apex will re-aggress here on the fence line. So this could get a little bit dangerous for Liquid here as Kenny S gets a little bit of free reign with that Deagle. Not going to find these shots though on the mid slope, but they're still holding position at long A, so they're trying to do a crossfire. But Liquid so far making their way through it all. Twitch with a couple of nice frags. Elige chiming in now as well. And so they start to break through all of this. Those Deagles are starting to drop. It's just NBK and Shox left now in a 3-on-2. And Elige just a jumping shot there onto Shox. No problem. And they will finish the job. So Liquid, they've quickly tied this thing up.
Yeah, it was close. I think a lot of those... I feel like they weren't necessarily that proactive on taking the site, however, and in a lot of situations they could have just eaten a Deagle shot. There were situations where an AK was waiting for a Deagle to peek, and there was no one else there. There was no nades to either blind or do damage or like take that person out without having to take that one-on-one fight. But it seems risky when you've got like 10 sick aimers in the server to do something like that.
Yeah, so opening up default once more over here, but this time Nitro's actually be one of the guys trying to engage a little bit here over towards the A side. Stanislaw is actually now playing off the B platform, which is where Nitro would usually be. So again, that role swapping that can sometimes go on for Liquid is nice to see as we see a lot of utility coming on this B bomb site. And look at Stan, he's going to be the one to go out first. He's going to get the entry on the MBK, finds the entry on the body as well. So Stanislaw just wreaking havoc inside this B bomb site. And it's all a ruse. It's really going to be a drop A split into essentially an empty bomb site. Everyone rotated into B. And so Kenny S and Shox are stuck there, kind of scratching their heads that Stanislaw is literally just running amok all over the place.
This team, man, Liquid, they are looking really good. They called out that tree boost and they had Stanislaw come out into path as soon as that molly went down and the flash. This guy was burning blind and fell off the tree to get killed by someone who he doesn't even know where that person came from. So excellent execution as well as read on what the setup was.
Yeah, really well done there. Stan is really taking advantage of all of that. And so Liquid are actually going to take an early lead in this game, it appears, as Kenny S and Shox are just trying to save these guns. Obviously, money is starting to get low on the G2 side. They've lost 4 rounds in a row now. So just a great response from Liquid early in this game after losing pistol in the following 2 rounds.
Shox to get a kill. I mean, they can be hanging out looking for kills if they want to. Shox really shouldn't die. Oh, I see. Just wants to get a better gun. If you could find it. Now Liquid actually take a lead, even though G2 were the ones to win the pistol. Nitro has yet to get a kill, and I don't even say that in a bad way. I mean, because yesterday we saw Nitro be the only reason Liquid were getting rounds.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's that player that like that doesn't always perform really well, though Nitro has just had an upswing in general. That like when he's fragging, that's when the team's not doing well because like everybody else should be on point, and that sometimes has to do with whatever role they're playing, but. I don't know if that'll be the case here. I'm sure at some point he will have to step up as there are, in terms of quality of players, no support players on G2 either.
Yeah, again, Stanislaw is showing you why he's respected so much as an IGL, because he's also quite skilled and can get frags. We saw it in that last round. Nitro going to find the opener here. This time, though, over towards the drop-down room. That's going to be NBK out of the equation very early on. Of course, this was a bit of a rougher purchase for G2, just kind of buying what they could around the op that they say. This Kenny S will find Twist, so makes things a bit more dangerous now for Liquid, as their advantage is all but gone that they got early in this round, as they're still trying to put a little bit of pressure towards drop, but they also are sending a Liege and Stanislaw here, the normal A-control duo, out to see what they can discover, as no one's going to be playing aggressively this time. It's just Kenny S playing with low HP here inside the hut with the op. He is beginning to get a rotate now as well. In fact, everyone's really beginning to rotate. Just one player left at B. Even Body comes over. So they're reading this pretty well.
Yeah, they are. This was actually an anti-eco Liquid used a couple of rounds ago, and so they might be getting telegraphed here further. Kenny S was able to get a shot off and drop. And very unfortunate for him, he actually hits JDM first, but only in the legs. And that isn't enough, gets traded. But since they moved into the site, Body's got a good position, goes 1 for 1. Not so bad. Shox and Apex are joining in, and that's it. JDM, the last person alive who was tagged, may not have gotten that kill in vain. 10 seconds remain. G2 come out with the rounds.
And really well done, just, you know, scrappy play there from G2. Almost everyone's a part of that. Only NBK doesn't get a kill involved in that round. So the response is immediate from G2. As soon as Liquid take the lead, they tie it right back up. And now money is really becoming a problem for each team at this point. Like, they're really buying down to their bottom dollar. You can see Liquid $0 on one of their players, 150 on Twist. So this becomes a real hassle. Then G2 have to worry about getting resets. I mean, this round could almost be like one of those 2-for-1 deal type situations, though, of course, with UMPs and force buying these days, hard to really ever secure a couple of rounds in a row like that.
Almost a full B execute. Yeah, it seems like a full B execute is what's going to happen right now. We don't have a tree boost coming out. A Molotov wasted. That could be somewhat of a big deal. They've got a lot of good positions right now. Shox seeing under the corner of a smoke is actually giving that up to throw a flash and get aggressive on B-plat. This might be a good adjustment for him. And a player might be swinging out here. There is one. He hasn't died yet. We've got one up on tree. Nitro gets the first kill for the terrorist. Kenny S, however, answers right back against Twist. And now it's a 2-on-4. Nitro going to be pushing up the left side of the site. Is he going to lock down this trade? He is. Body gets killed. Another man goes down, running up really quickly up past. And it's starting to get ugly. Suddenly a 1v1. Nitro knows exactly where Apex is kind of low. Was going to get this kill. Oh my god. Whoa, Apex was too quick with that headshot. My goodness.
The fact that Liquid even got that close is kind of miraculous. I think they were in a 2 versus 4 there at the end, and somehow Nitro just kept knocking people off. JDM even found a frag, and it all came down to this 1v1. And just by the skin of his teeth is Apex able to walk away with it with this pair of frags that you see here to conclude the round. And so they will take the lead back from Liquid, but that was certainly a nail-biter round. But you see the repercussions of it. Liquid just going to be on the upgraded pistols in this round. No real armor either except for Peter, so aim punch an issue, limited utility. This is really set up for G2 to finally start grabbing control back of the game. They really should take this, but dealing with these pistols and drop down, that's going to be difficult on Body. He's going to have to figure it out, though.
Yeah, they're not actually playing down in here like Body was last time, so at the very least for Liquid, they've cleared out an area of the map that they didn't know they'd have, and they've got control of it, and we can see the impact of that right now. MBK, for example, has to split his attention between long and drop. And no, we are in NA, so you will see some nades, but no big deal. Just $300. Nitro's also cleared out E-Box here with the smoke. They're going to be reboosting and just leaving one person down here to actually go, it looks like, back to A. Absolutely no utility. I mean, this is the group explode if I've ever seen one, but they're positive that there is still one left in drop, which works in either team's favor. It depends how they use it.
Yeah, Nitro can kind of be the one to, you know, hold people in place, cut off rotates. You know, maybe he can make a play. You know, he does have that Tech 9 in his possession. We know how deadly that gun can be as everyone else just looks to run up. And they're catching Kenny S kind of rotating back and forth, but he's going to be able to get behind that APC in the reaction. That's just the speed that Kenny S has, and now Apex will pretty much finish the job. Kenny S probably won't even need to come up with anything else, as Apex will just go ahead and end it. So there you have it, 6-4 from G2.
That's super interesting that they actually ran upper just to go down to danger. And at first it seemed like, I think they just did that so that they wouldn't get spotted going through the door if Kenny S was off-putting it from rotator,
right.
from connector, excuse me. But after, it seemed like it was also a sound bait in the sense that because it was called that, oh, they're running upper, then his attention got taken away. So when they did finally come up lower ramp, he wasn't exactly ready for it.
JDM is working real quick up close with that op at B, but he's not actually going to find anything. The smoke comes up, but Nitro through it all, takes down Shox anyway. And so we're really starting to see Liquid get a little bit of a rhythm here. That's always nice if you can find a frag like that. But as they try to come out body on top of the tree, we'll take down JDM, and then he'll just hold this position now. So Liquid were looking for more off the platform when it gets denied.
I'm not sure I like the fact that JDM was out on long platform after they just had 5v4. Even though he was leading with his op, again, just no one there to trade. If you wanted him to lead, he could have just led, and because you don't want to get naded, which is fine, but then have literally 4 people behind him and then just take B off the back of that entry, assuming that G2 are hoping you come back to A, still haven't rotated and heavily stacked B yet.
Maybe a bit of miscommunication there, but it looks like Liquid are certainly gathering up now for an A hit as Apex begins to withdraw back by cannons, and he's getting that rotate in as well. He's just going to hold this angle on the mid slope as the utility is starting to pour in from Liquid, so they're looking to get up here and make things happen. But Apex, he wants to fight against Twist. Nitro quick to trade, and Elish takes down the rotation of NBK. And so this bomb site is now open for business for Liquid to put that bomb down. And Nitro continues to cut off these rotates. G2 has no foothold back into this. It's just Kenny S now with the AWP, and while he's certainly a fantastic player, that's just asking too much, as he will just try to back off and save this gun as best he can. And so Liquid, they fight right back, and this is turning into an all-out brawl at this point in the first half of Cobblestone.
Oh, we're witnessing some incredible entries from Nitro. Suddenly, after I mentioned that he wasn't on the board at all, is now up to 8 kills, and a lot of them were just straight-up impact frags, being the first one into B and coming up that A slope. So,
and it's good to see him like this again. Again, there was this period of time where it felt like we weren't seeing the Nitro that we know he's capable of being, but lately in online play and now at this tournament, he certainly seems to be kind of finding his old self again. I mean, that's what this Liquid team was always prided on, was their Elige Nitro 1-2 punch. So that was always like the biggest piece that they had to be successful, and so to see that now in their arsenal again is fantastic news.
It's interesting we didn't see that experiment pan out, even though for the most part they're quite similar players. What do you think? What do you think was the difference maker, though? This is a rifle, and it looks like it might be something quite quickly, or something might happen quite quickly. We have a player trailing, excuse me, farther behind at the moment, and it seems though as if Liquid are almost certainly going to be trying to enter B site swiftly with at least 4 members. Now Shox's attention is brought to drop as Stanislaw is able to find an entry. He's also caused a problem in the door, has made his way in, and Shox's attention is fully drawn as someone comes right under his scope. That's JDM, and takes him out with a rifle. Unbelievable.
Yeah, just good entering here from Liquid, particularly just boxing in Shox inside the chicken coop with that hop and just not allowing him to do anything with it. Again, it's Stanislaw taking charge this time. So it feels like either one of Elige, Nitro, or Stanislaw could be the one finding opening picks, you know, in this game. Each of them have done it at some point.
Stan's not just an IGL, he's not just like a player in IGL that also frags. He's not just like a player that's very versatile, can pick up roles. He's like somewhat of a star in some regards too, where like he just got sent on a mission by himself as the caller to go down drop, come through the door, through the back of B, and get 2 kills all alone. Like that's something that you would send Twist down to do, or someone that's just an absolutely crazy, like just mental fragger, and for some reason took that job into his own hands, and that is really impressive.
Yeah, definitely his role flexibility is one of the pros in that pro and con checkbox that you do. And this is definitely good work from him. And now they'll tie this game right back up at 6 apiece. So this is becoming quite a tight race. As you see G2 kind of on the back foot here. They just have, you know, the Deagle, the P250, and Body's just on a USP. So all the work's going to have to be done essentially by Kenny S's op and the M4 of Apex. As once again you're seeing Stanislaw kind of soloing over here towards B, trying to create a little bit of pressure on his own. There is basically a stack at B, by the way. It's just this one player with the Deagle on the A side of the map, and that's where everyone from Liquid is, and Shox is going to get picked up there by Twist. So now A is completely wide open. That bomb will come in no problem and get planted, and Liquid looking to take the lead back unless somehow, some way G2 can retake with these 4 players.
I quite like this. So we've seen anti-ecos. Oh, wow. Just a plethora of nades coming at him as he was blind running through fire. Not able to rotate in, but we saw G2 start out their eco rounds with a majority stack towards B because Liquid have not gone A early ever. They've always gone towards B and then congregated back towards A later in the round. But here we saw Liquid just start out with a quick tempo, move in up the A slope, and just making sure that they could take advantage of the fact that G2 have been accustomed to playing up to 4B, usually 3 Daddy and 1 rotator.
Again, we're talking about how deep Liquid's playbook is. They have so many different opening formations and mid-round transitions, as well as this complex executes. They haven't had to run really any, crazy executes yet. It's mostly been basic, like, contact type play, but they're moving Stanislaw all across the map. They're moving Nitro all across the map. They're doing these 1-4 splits on each side. And so I think that it's becoming difficult for G2 to kind of figure out where it's really going to be coming from. Not only that, but they keep investing into this double op, and I've really yet to see it pan out. Like, Shox really hasn't had so much impact with it over on that B side of the map.
Yeah, so the reason I really like Stanislaw so much, the North American IGLF frags well, but Shox and G2 is like my favorite European team, and for the reason of Shox is my favorite player, where he is the same way.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
He sees the game as this like, oh, I don't want to interrupt the fact that Kenny S might about to have a heyday, as he hasn't been smoked out in any regard. JDM actually wins a duel versus him though, and that's a 1-on-1 Nitro. Obviously joining in on the entries because he can't nod, and Elige also getting a kill. Everybody is just pitching in right now. Elige with a second headshot. Shox with a nice flick to the right. Quick to take out Elige, but now it's a retake situation, and oh, the bomb is down right in front of him, but he's got 41 HP. A lot of time for, wow, all of Liquid to work with. And they've done this late boost on the tree as terrorists quite often. I like how they're approaching the site like that. But I was going to say, Shox takes it into, Shox thinks about the game as something that's quite loose, that should be more tactics heavy, that you should have a lot of versatility in players, right? A player that can do a lot of different roles is the reason they wanted to keep body, for example. Right. And I think, Stan is just like that North American version. Yeah.
I mean, Shox really epitomizes versatility. I mean, he's an in-game leader who's also a main lurk, but also can entry and can op very well. So yeah, he definitely is someone that we're always keep an eye on. He's having a bit of a slow start though in this game, but this time the defensive G2 doing quite well in the last round of the half there. Really catching this change of pace from Liquid, who just looked to just do a straight up B rush, but G2 were more than prepared for it, it seems, as they will get that last round on the board. So 8-7 in favor of Liquid. Yeah. Pretty nice back and forth. No one really had like a crazy round winning streak in that half. Just 4 rounds here and there from Liquid, broken up by the 3 rounds there in the middle of the half from a G2. Luckily, G2 also won pistol and got the 3-0 start. Otherwise, I mean, Liquid kind of started dominating that once guns came into hands.
Yeah, I would say for the most part, Liquid dominated that half. It's just if they didn't get the pistol and the 2 anti-ecos to tack on to the actual round score. But overall, I think they outplayed G2 quite often. I think G2 are probably not going to be too happy with the half. Even as close as it is, I don't think they're going to be that happy with it. And we could see some mistakes early on that were kind of uncharacteristic of the team, where options weren't covered in every situation.
Right, as G2 certainly going to be capable in their own right on their own terrorist side. I mean, Apex is certainly a player when you're thinking about entry fraggers. He's a guy that can really do a lot of damage, particularly at drop-down room is where he likes to entry a lot, but also whether it's like if it's going to be an A-Halls type of control play, he's going to be really critical in that as well. So that's definitely someone to keep an eye on. And Kenny S, his op has been fairly good so far, so him looking for picks will be big. Then obviously you got to think about Shox. He had a bit of a slower time on the CT side. He's going to be that main B platform player for this team, which is like a critical part to control on this map, it feels like. So he really needs to kind of show the Shox we're used to seeing for G2 to grab this one back, as we're now getting live into the pistol, and it looks like it's going to be some type of drop A split.
Yeah, they've already got long control. It's fine. Liquid feel like it's fine to just leave them there. Stanislaw gets flashed quite heavily. 2 players down drop. absolutely no friction from the CTs versus this, and they're actually walking up to try to flank in the situation. MBK lucky. Smokeblind actually gets that kill, and now Stanislaw in an awkward spot with very low HP. Has to worry about 3 different avenues of entrance to his site. Twist, however, turning around, able to get that first kill. Will he clean this up? MBK, the only man on the terrorist that is able to do anything in this situation, and a few headshots missing. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. We almost saw a knife kill.
That would have been, I'm sure, rather entertaining for everyone if that would have come out, as well as, of course, the money that comes behind that, but it's not going to actually factor in the pistol frag.
You know, sometimes a knife attempt is really stupid, like when Config attempted to knife Schneider at you know, in a very like tense moment. But it also shows, and you know, kind of a bad way, I guess, that you're not afraid and that you're very confident. And you know, Twist being a new member of the team, like coming onto a LAN, a very important match, and then you know, feeling just comfortable, like, oh, 3-on-1 situation, I got this. Like, it's good to know that your teammates are not worried, even though sometimes you wouldn't want them to go for a knife. I remember Supexio got his stuff pushed in by Shox, who didn't want him to, or was it, did I say, wait, what name did I say? The FXCO is what it means.
Yeah, there you go, Supexio.
Yeah,
not sure what that was.
He,
just gonna let you ride with it though, wasn't
yeah,
the bus
yeah. So he like, I think it was he knifed a Flaren on Cobblestone at like some major in 2014, and then Shox like was very upset about the fact that he tried it, even though he got away with it clean and they won the round.
Yes, Liquid looking to try to see if they can't get their own 3-0 start to a half here, match that of G2 and extend their lead, as we are going to see G2 gathering up over here towards the B side of the map. So Elige will soon be greeted by many Frenchmen who are looking to try to get in here with these Tech 9s and the armor and just look to see if they can't trade their way into a bomb plant. But Elige peeks with the UFP, takes down MBK, looking for body, finds that as well. Now the sweep comes through drop. Shox able to get 1 kill, but that's going to be it. Twist cleans house, and that's going to be 10 rounds for Liquid. And maybe, just maybe, they're going to start taking their map pick now.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we might be calling it a little bit too soon. There's still a few rounds to come back from to prove that. But Liquid, the fact that they won the pistol is a great place to start after having that, you know, 8-7 very tight half to follow up with. Gives them some breathing room, some economic backing.
Yeah, so of course this is a much lighter affair for G2. Just a couple of P250s and 3 Glocks. No utility, no armor. This should be no problem for Liquid to handle. It'll really be that next round where the game really kind of starts again to see what G2 has in store for us on this terrorist side. Again, very aggressive team, a lot of playmakers. So you expect them to be explosive once they get rifles in their hands, and that's when Liquid will truly be tested. But for now, it's just raining men in drop-down room, and Twist and Elige, no problem dealing with it here with those SMGs and rifles. And now it's just NES. He does get 1 pick there on the Stanislaw, but that's all he'll be gifted. And so there you have it. Liquid extend the lead just a bit more, but now here comes the real challenge.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see how they decide to open up the round on this one. I don't actually, Kenya saved enough to go like off no armor, which I wouldn't be surprised if he did, but he actually just picks up the AK, and it's probably not a bad idea as a couple players from Liquid with umps themselves. But the cool thing about this map is that it's very friendly to umps on TT side as like just a straight up viable way to play every single round. Drop is a situation where you can just be dedicated there, always use your ump, and be literally at no disadvantage to an M4 or an AK.
Look at this aggression from Liquid on long B though. They send JDM very far forward. Shox, the main B player for G2, will get the opening pick, but Elige trades it right back. So
did they just do VP long control, or I'm not sure if it was as formatted as that, but
yeah, they definitely were looking to press in. Elige does get 1 frag out of it, that Shox down, but everyone else here is actually gathered up at A, so it's kind of one of those 1-4 types of setups from G2 where Shox goes down, but the main focus was really this the entire time, so it's really going to be the A defense from Liquid that's going to be called upon. And again, they can't rotate as freely as they want to because they are a man down. That's why we always talk about how 4-on-4 situations typically are going to favor terrorists depending on firepower and health, and all that good stuff can obviously factor in. As here comes the actual push-up mid-slope now. Nitro watching it here from long A, back to the fence. He knows that he has to worry about a flank, though, behind him, so there's definitely a lot of pressure. He'll actually choose to push through and around the smoke, but gets caught by Kenny S, and so that means the A bomb site has folded, essentially. But hold the phone. Elige coming up mid-slope, finds a couple of kills, but Apex not going to allow it to go any further, as they'll take a round. That makes it 8-11.
Yeah, it should have been that close. Obviously, Liquid Elige on that flank. There was so much going on in that moment where Nitro had smoked out long A he could have been the reason that they won the round. I think I would have liked to see him push that smoke, or at the very least get a little bit more aggressive when peeking lower ramp. But at the same time, it was a tough call to make, and almost anything that he did could have resulted in him dying. And obviously, because we saw him die, we're considering other options. But a critical player at that point in the site where he was holding long and lower ramp at the same time.
So we're going to see G2 again just opening up fairly default, but definitely a little bit more emphasis towards the A side. We're going to see aggression from Liquid. Nitro comes out with the flash, looking to find some frags, and he puts down a nice incendiary, splits up the team, but Apex gets around it and gets that opening pick, but Stanislaw quick to trade it right back, so Apex not able to follow things up, and Stanislaw just holding A as best he can, a good anchor, but Body does eventually find him out here on the danger stairs, and they begin making their way into A. There are a couple of players already here, though, JDM being one of them with the op boosted up by the roof here, just looking for something to shoot at. He'll find it on the Body. He keeps staying alive in the site, finds another one on the MBK, but the player's following around him. He has to do it on his own, essentially, because now he's alone in a 1 versus 2. As the nades keep coming in, he keeps staying alive. He just keeps trying to maneuver himself around this broken wall on the A site, but he just can't make it any further. KennyS finds the headshot, and now it's a 9th round for G2.
Wow, the quick ones up A are actually working out quite well. They even, I mean, they went fast the first time, but they went even faster here. They waited for nothing at all. And unfortunately, it started with the opening kill where Nitro threw a bad flash for him, or it might have been stand to flash for him, but he blinded himself. That literally, that probably would have ended the round right there if he just got that kill on the flash players that were waiting out for him. And unfortunately, peaked a little bit too early, and that's what it boils down to sometimes. Liquid saving now, probably because of that.
Yeah, as it is just going to be SMGs farming for money. Apex with a MAC-10, you know, very low risk for him to do that, very low investment. And you can see G2 just having really no trouble ensuring that the double digits are coming for them. That is going to be 11 to 10.
It's the CZ just sprinkling bullets onto their opponents. It's so strong, and it got a nerf for the distance, but that was definitely a headshot he hit into lower A from quite far away.
So now it's a neck-and-neck race at this point, where 11 to 10, just 1 round separates these two teams, getting into the later stages of the game now.
Absolutely, and both teams are doing great jobs on ecos of getting kills, so it's never the situation where a team is getting more than 2 buys at a time off of losses.
Right.
Looking already ready to come back into a good amount of utility. Spread between each of them. They've used quite a bit, though, to defend against Long B, and yeah, they've got a deep smoke here to at least feign control. They don't necessarily have to take it for this to be useful. It just is a problem for G2 because now they know that they understand that Liquid have confidence that it can't be Long B at least for a few more seconds, which is a really big deal.
Yeah,
so.
Liquid's counter utility has been really good. It seems like any time that G2's try to go for something more aggressive early round, the utility's always been there from Liquid to kind of deter them from doing so and forcing them to kind of fall back and kind of reconsider things and make adjustments on the fly and not go with the original plan as often as maybe they wanted to. As now it seems like they want to try to maybe make some play into drop-down room. Shox will be the one to take it off the back of this smoke, just kind of edging his way around. And so it seems with him being able to get into the drop-down room, they're now thinking about bringing this bomb back over to B. That's where they have the most map control for now, and they're getting into the last 30 or so seconds. But Twist somehow through the smoke grabs Shox, and so now G2 going to have a tougher time making their way in. Elish playing the edge of the smoke on the platform, finds a couple of frags, and now it's just NBK and KennyS. And what was a 2 versus 5, now a 2v4 thanks to NBK. Ow. That's another 6 shot from him. That's going to make it even maybe more possible for G2. But as I say that, JDM with an M4, getting some nice shots, and don't see that every day from him. He's usually the op, but he does do a fair amount of damage. But KennyS maybe still has a chance, but he's got to get these 2 kills so quickly. There's not enough time. If Liquid plays smart, they just won't peek. There's no way to win. Yeah.
Oh my god, but not only that. Oh, come on, Stan. Just wait 2 more seconds. And optimally could have just killed him right after the time.
You're so triggered by that.
I'm so triggered because I know they were waiting for him so the time could run out. But, yeah. No.
Again, Liquid's doing a good job of disrupting G2, I feel like. Every time that G2 feels like they know what they want to do, either a nice counter utility comes in, or like Twist gets that kill on drop-down room on Shox, and then the plan kind of unravels at that point. So Liquid kind of taking these calculated aggressive plays or just using their utility well, however you want to pull it. It's really netting them a lot of rounds in this game.
Oh, wow. MBK getting really aggressive on JDM with that. Wow, another player, Shock's coming out long B at the same time, and it seems like Liquid had no idea that G2 could move this fast, as they were not ready at drop or long B. Op shot comes out, but it's only a little bit of damage. It doesn't matter. Twist is able to get that kill and finish off Shots. Whoa, really nice 180 flick shot with that up. And this really is a team full of operas.
Yeah, really well done. Twist was the secondary opera for Misfits, his team that he came from, to come here to Liquid. So certainly a capable player with that gun in his hands. And with those 2 kills he got over towards B, it gives Liquid a slight chance, but they're not going to take it. They wanted to save these guns. They know money is low. They just had their economy reset. So they want to make sure that they have something going into this next round.
Yeah, that's really rough. I mean, the fact that MBK could take a great spawn and just turn that into a drop kill with the UMP like that is unfortunate, but then to have Shocks be ready for that B exec right away, it was a perfect storm. I mean, there wasn't anything Liquid could do about that once they let the first kill go. They were clearly unprepared, and a little bit of counter utility would have gone a long way in that situation specifically, as they just won the round, but maybe because it was the case that G2 knew they were low on money because they had only won 1 round, that it was a good opportunity to rush, and they were correct about it.
Yeah, just good heads-up plays there from particularly NBK and Shocks, just kind of pushing the 2 different areas at B and finding picks off of it. And so that means they're just 1 round away from tying this right back up at 12 all. Liquid, thanks to saving those guns, are able to still get a purchase together here. It does include 3 UMPs, but again, there's so many close-range spots you can play, whether it be drop or the broken wall or aggressive in A halls, that these UMPs certainly are still worth their weight in gold, to be quite honest, especially considering how cheap they are and how low risk they are.
JDM's got a lot of work to do over at A. He's been left alone. He's also had to fall back. Wasn't able to get that opening kill, which would have alleviated a lot of pressure from Liquid. Body comes out long. It's dinked, I don't know by who, but there's Stan to help out Elish, who I think was able to get some damage in right before he died. Quite unfortunate for Liquid, but it's already an A hit, and JDM, who rotated, is now on his way back in, but could easily get mollied out of this spot.
It does get into the site, but again, a lot of nades coming in. He's taking a lot of damage, but stays alive and still finds a kill on the MBK, but he can't get out of that fire. Apex roast him. And so now it's just a 1v3. It's just Stanislaw rotating around from mid-slope from B, trying to flank, gets into a fight with Apex and loses that battle. And now it's tied right back up. So again, this is becoming quite the tug-of-war at this point.
I want to say that JDM shouldn't have rotated so quickly. He did make his way back quickly enough that he was able to get to a decent spot. But if he could have maybe caught people coming through the door or in their choke points at long, like, it usually gets ugly when players are in the site. Like, you want to stop players at long B because that's the best way to do the most amount of AoE damage with like a grenade, right? And whereas when they're in the site, it's super hard to get away with that, not get peeked and so on. And so JDM rotating back late might have allowed them to get better positions too early. And further, since Liquid had only lost a player, I mean, I don't know what his use would have been as an opera rotating from A. I feel like he should have stayed there a little bit longer.
Yeah, now Liquid just, you know, basically USPs aplenty. Just the CZ purchase from Twist. That's going to be all that's invested into this. They know they need to save that money for later, as G2 are going to be a little bit closer than they are to getting to map point.
What on earth is Elish doing?
I have no idea.
This is mesmerizing. Is he drawing the tree?
I guess, man.
Oh my god.
The things that you do when you're just waiting for the push to come. Trying to practice that aim control, I guess. Whatever the case may be, G2 now begin to pour into the speed bomb site, into a stacked site, by the way. I mean, almost everyone from Liquid is somewhere here in B, and Nitro with the USP gets a headshot on the MBK. JDM even gets a lot of damage down on the body. Is Liquid really going to pose a threat here? It seems like now G2 are finally reeling it in after a couple of threatening moves by Liquid, as they have the 4-on-2 now. The bomb goes to an empty A bomb site, while Body just kind of holds position here. He knows that at least one is B from all that he is hearing. So yeah, G2, they will take this. It's going to be 13-12.
And Nitro takes the spoils. Why dualies? I mean, well, in SMG, if you get a kill with an SMG, it's first of all, it's easier to get the kill, and secondly, you get more, you get a bigger bonus for it, like pays for itself. So I wonder why he did that. Maybe it's because
2 guns are better than 1.
2 guns are better than 1, but it's just like the reward is what I don't get. Oh, I guess overall he could be used as a scout, and if he doesn't get a kill, then at least he didn't spend too much money. It's one way to look at it. Loser's mentality. Don't like it.
He picked up those dualies, though, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, he did? Okay.
So I think I might have just wrecked everything he said. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Because they did have 4 USPs and 1 CZ at the very beginning, so I'm pretty sure he got those dualies off of somebody from G2.
Okay. That helps a lot, actually.
There you go.
Clears things
Glad I
up.
could clear that up for you.
Thank you.
No problem.
G2 take a lead, 13-12. And Liquid are not having the greatest CT side themselves. So
did G2 just double up on the T side? Yes, they did. So again, we were talking about this on the CT side. G2 will double op almost every map, every side at some point in time. Like, they have it in their playbook. Not many teams will do it. Every now and then you'd see Virtus Pro do it. Mousesports was kind of famous for doing double op on T sides as well, but again, still very rare. So we'll see what Shox and KennyS can do with them, as they're going to be up against a fully bought out Liquid, with the exception of Twist, who's going to be on that UMP, but the op is in JDM's hands. Everyone else is on their favorite M4s, whatever it may be. And Shox is looking for that pick at B, while I assume KennyS's op is probably looking for something over towards middle or A-Hall, just spreading those ops out.
Nitro just got lit up. I don't know where, but he is super low already. And Elige is a beast of a long B player, and he likes this corner a lot. But Shox is a molly, and they have a lot of people here grouping for long B. I wouldn't be surprised if they spent all their utility just clearing out long. There it is. And Elige's going to have to move and gets killed. So called out for his positioning. Pressure on JDM now and Twist. One kill doesn't come out. He has the opportunity to take the shot. Is looking for another one. Re-peeks into the op of Shox. Nitro on the rotate in from drop. Player peeking aggressively. That's KennyS. And ends up getting himself killed. Apex comes out for the wide peak trade. And now it's just Stanislaw 1v2. Critical round. They need this.
And we'll see if he can clutch it up to try to see if he can tie things. He does not have a kit, and it won't even matter. Shox just takes him out with the AWP. And so now it's 14-12. And so, wow, this has been a pretty close affair all the way through here in the home stretch towards the end, towards that goal of taking the first map of the series. G2 has put together 4 rounds in a row, and they've won 7 out of the last 8. So they've really begun to grab control of this game lately. Yeah. And Liquid don't have many more chances to respond. In fact, G2's going for map point, and what they've been able to buy up here is kind of scary. I mean, it doesn't really hold a whole lot of weight. I mean, yeah, sure, the Mag 7's dangerous on this map at drop or broken wall, but still, they're limiting their options.
Yeah, well, they're playing to tie, which is something that's quite refreshing to see, honestly, because a lot of teams in this situation would feel like, oh, we're so close, let's just spend all our money. But you know, if you actually have confidence in your team, then you will always play for the tie. Like SK do it all the time, and they're one of the best teams in the world. Any team that believes that they're going to win the game will be willing to play for the tie, and not just hope that they can pull out a 16-14 because they don't want to go into OT. And so that does give me a lot of faith in Liquid, the fact that they would do something like this.
Yeah, again, G2 slowing things down, not being as explosive as you expect because they had that double op in play. They want to give enough time to KennyS and Shox to see what they can sniff out with those AWPs, if they can gain some type of edge with them. And Shox is putting that pressure on the B platform. KennyS looking towards mid and long A, trying to see if there's going to be any type of push out of Liquid, but to no avail. Liquid just holding their spots, a slightly more presence towards B at the moment, but you do begin to see that rotation through connector now towards A, as you know, Stanislaw is starting to see a lot of utility, starting to hear a lot of footsteps. That means that Nitro is going to slide back in to the site. Also another rotation coming in as well at the doorway. So Liquid are more than prepared for an A hit as far as positioning goes, but can they actually land the shots? Wow. A great pop flash comes in for Apex. Nitro able to trade though at this Nitro going off right now. This could be the big play they need, as Stanislaw even finds one with the USP. Now it's all an MBK. And my goodness, Nitro, what a monster. What a time to make a play.
Oh my God.
And Liquid, they put around the board a little bit earlier than expected.
Damn, straight up the sky. That was so clean.
Wow. It was looking good there because, I mean, obviously Liquid don't have much in it. A great pop flash for Apex to peek in with. Like, it was stacking up against Liquid. Then Nitro just says, I'm going to have none of this.
Timeout, emotional reset for G2, as they just got dominated by Nitro on the site with only a CZ and 1 clip. Man, and because Liquid only half bought, they've got more than enough money to spend now. Even if they were to lose this round, I mean, they'd be, first of all, closer to a tie, and second of all, in a better economic situation. Not that they're necessarily hoping they lose this round, because if they do, will probably lose the game. But
and here's the question that gets posed to G2. I mean, do you double op again? I mean, the money is there on body to to drop one over to Shocks, and they could go for that. But again, that probably means you're not going to be able to do any faster pace type play. You don't want to, you know, do explosive executes if you're sitting on 2 ops. So I think that's kind of the choice they have to make now, is do they want to spread out and look for picks with those players, or do they want to, you know, be more AK heavy, you know, allow them the option to do, you know, something maybe a little bit faster paced, as certainly G2 are very capable of that. Meanwhile, like you said, Liquid, they're like, great, we just went around, we didn't really have to, you know, buy anything. You know, they're sitting pretty at the moment. They have everything they could ever want in this next round as far as utility goes. And they're not one to double op too often, so that doesn't phase them at all that they're not going to have a second one. Yeah,
I think they'll be okay without it. I think the issue is that Liquid's A is really weak right now, and that's been the main problem for them, straight up. And the issue is that they don't know how to deal with it, because one round they decided to, one round they even had enough people at B, and MBK runs down drop with the UMP, gets an open kill, Shocks runs out long dry, and then get a kill. So our Liquid are wounded animals right now. They're so worried about both sides. They're probably like lacking a little bit of confidence. Alish has even been called out in a spot that he's really used to playing very well at long for himself. So they've got the problem of, well, if we play an extra person at A, our B is way too weak. But if we don't play an extra person at A, G2 or it's very common, G2 will just run up instantly and just try to hit the site, and we cannot rely on a sick individual play from someone like Nitro to get 3 CZ kills or whatever. I mean, it'd be less likely that he did that with an AK or sorry, an M4 on just like any given round.
Yeah, so we're starting to get to our final rounds of regulation at least, and overtime could be involved in the way this thing's been playing out thus far, but Apex gonna find the instant kill there. I believe that was through the door on Stanislaw. So now Nitro, the big playmaker from last round, has a lot of weight on his shoulders. He's already fairly low on HP, does trade out for the AK and backs off into the site. So far, no one else rotating from Liquid, just kind of holding their own. Nothing's really come out to indicate what G2's up to just yet.
Counter smokes, they've got long B smoke to deal with this. And I don't know if that actually landed in the door or not, but now drop control is going to be taken with the focus on long from the CTs.
Yeah, so it seems like they want to do a drop base play because they're not putting any presence on the B platform itself. And of course, the bomb's waiting outside mid-room. You already see one player even making his way up mid-slope. No one's found him yet. He could just sneak in.
They're calling out the setup, though.
Oh, not like this. Apex comes up,
yeah.
But yeah, great catch by Alish, like you said. Good communication going on there from Liquid, but Shock still gets the frag. And that means A is going to be under siege right now from multiple angles, including shots coming from balcony.
Well,
that puts a lot on him.
They still have long control. They still have twist out here. They're in a great spot. Nice dink as well. And MBK gets finally killed. Now 2v2, but Nitro has one of the best afterplan spots possible. A lot of it does come down to that trade. Unfortunately for him, for JDM, Body was in such a good spot. Now, because Nitro's spot has been compromised and there are no eyes to take off him, even though he had a great afterplan spot, he's going to be running away, and it looks like he's going to actually... I don't know if he's... I think is he saving or not? I mean, this might be a great way to sneak in a free kill, which would make it a 1v1. Still in a tough spot, though.
I think he realizes the money's there for them to buy next round, and he has the kit, so maybe if he can find a quick frag, it's a possibility. Oh my goodness,
God.
He's sneaking the Body. Kenny clutch again. That's a great kill. The Body comes in, but Kenny is waiting for him with the op. That got dangerous, but G2 do close it out. That will put them at map point 15-13. This game is getting so intense, but G2 have taken that next step forward for themselves to close out the map, but Liquid, they still have a chance to fight for an OT.
Yeah, that was a really solid attempt. Unfortunately, they don't have enough money to put together like a super great buy. G2 are actually buying super late out of spawn, and I mean it's fine for them as terrorists, but now vying for OT on a similar buy to what we saw last time. They just barely bailed themselves out of having to fight for match point. Peter, one of the only two with an M4, gets taken down to half HP, but that's kind of how you would play long A perfectly, where you just have a crack peek and a smoke out. So you wait until someone puts pressure on you, you immediately pull the trigger on that smoke, and then you fall back to a more passive setup with that info.
And they're going to do a boost as well. This is the first time we've seen this boost all game long, and it comes at a critical moment. So G2 maybe won't expect this. That could be the trick up Liquid's sleeve that they need to keep this game going for themselves. It's definitely going to be an A hit here from G2, a split 2-up slope, 2 from long, but so far the frags are all going to G2 except for Nitro. He does fit one in there in the mix of everything, but it's going to be a 4-on-3 for G2 as they start making their way into the site. JDM, though, rotating with the Liege. The Liege finds one, but now he's going to be all alone with Twist. Twist now the one that has to make the play, but he just can't do it. G2, they close it out in the end with the final 2 rounds, despite the fact that Liquid were able to fit around here and there and make it a really close game. This was a great performance from a lot of the guys on Liquid, but G2 just a little bit too much to handle in the end.
Yeah, those overall just a sick map to watch. I mean, it was very explosive. There were a lot of great individual plays. Cool, interesting, different ways of playing T sides. I love how Liquid started out the map on their T side and the adjustments that they made to deal with what G2 were doing, and then G2's faster pace, more explosive play style that relied a little bit more on individual talents, but also just like just really good coordination and how well it worked out. Just all around really fun to watch.
Yeah, again, like I said, both these teams are capable of playing a lot of different versions of CS. Particularly this version of G2 seems to have a little bit more depth to them. They don't always rely on doing super aggressive stuff. They can play slower pace, particularly when they want to do those double op setups on the terrorist side. Which we saw them go to a couple of times. But when that wasn't working and money was getting tight, they had to take a timeout. They had to really consider all their options. You know, they go back to the AK in Shox' hands, and they're able to do these explosive plays. That's kind of their trademark, right? That's like kind of like their bread and butter, and they're able to just make some great things happen there in the end to close out the game. But, you know, fair play to Liquid. They really did fight tooth and nail against G2 and made that a very close game.
So what do we got coming up next?
I believe the next map is going to be Train. That was the pick of G2. And then if we need a third map, it would be Nuke.
Yeah.
So that's the way things are looking. And I think that Train is the map that's more heavily in G2's favor than Cobblestone was based on like recent play that we've seen. So this is where it gets a bit scary for Liquid because it felt like they had to win their map pick and then, you know, rely on the third map to win the series. And so now they have to fight even more of an uphill battle on Train. But we'll wait just a little bit longer before we get there. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll bring you Matt to the series. So stay tuned.